If you're a person who is struggling from slow output of your creative team, juggling between what's working, what's not working in your creative, and not able to understand even with long unproductive discussions and delays in meetings and everything, then this video is for you to how to get more creatives done with small team and limited resources. Let's get started. We write directions for 20 plus creatives every month, and the best part, it does not involve long elaborative meetings or all hands. All that is asynchronous. So how do we do it? By improving efficiency. First step is naming convention. We establish a clear-cut naming convention for all the brands, that this is the only way we name the creative. So that whether it is creative department referring to the creative or a media buyer or a brand site, anyone, he or she should mention this creative name, and exactly we'll know which creative they're talking about. Either it is reporting, iterations, anything for that matter. The same creative name goes even in the ad name itself, so that even anyone can just filter it out and look into the performance. This is the structure we follow. For images, type of creative, product name, messaging, page URL, and -dig. This example is below. IMG, which is image, Serene, which is a product name, then Salon Quality is the messaging, then Serene is again the page URL. This is how we can improve efficiency. Next, naming convention during the week inspiration. So what we do is, instead of having long meetings on what all needs to be done, every team, be it your creative team or your media buyer team, fills up all the details in terms of inspirations they found during the week. We have a collaborative sheet, single sheet, where both provide their inputs, and they can either add the links or they can add their thoughts of inspiration sheet. We have named it, as you can see, the inspiration sheet. There they can add all the links during what they have collected during the week. Then iterations are referred to by name and brought by the media buyer. So once the week inspiration is done, we get on a meeting and then discuss as to which inspiration should we go ahead with and which inspiration we should not go ahead with based on everyone's input. This makes the process faster, and you don't stare at a blank screen and a muted conversation or a meeting which does not involve anything productive. So you have something to start with, always have something to start with in terms of creative before starting a meeting. Next, how do we refer to iterations? For example, I mentioned the naming convention. The media buyer sends this name and says that I need a different iteration for this. What is the iteration required? Either it is image change or the hook change or the particular section of the video needs to be changed. Everything is written from the media buyer team itself. So that once again we are iterating on the same creative using the name itself. This establishes faster creative iterations and better communication within the team. Then meetings is only used to decide on angles. We don't dwell on details in the meeting as to what shot it will be, what shot it will not be, who will be there, which influencer and everything. It's not the meeting to decide, it's for the creative team to decide, and they will do it. But how do you decide between collaboration between creative and media team? We have meetings where we discuss this inspiration sheet and the angles which we will be going ahead with. These angles are brought in from both media buyer team and creative team. Creative team brings angles because of the research they have. Media buyer team brings angles because of the data they have been seeing in managing the ads. So collaboratively, both agree on a same angle or a similar angle and start working on the creatives for the next week. We have at least 2-week turnaround time, 2-week leeway into producing creatives, so that you don't, if there is any unfortunate situation in terms of your main team member is absent or copywriter is absent, even then you have a leeway to at least go ahead with set of creatives which are already there in the bank. Next, we first use the plan sheet, then send for assessment. What people usually do is just start, once the angle is decided, they start making the creative. We don't do that. We first conceptualize what the creative will be. For example, this is the sheet we maintain where status is whether the creative is done or not. Then what's the ad concept? We try to briefly explain within 1-2 lines. And then what's the audience persona we are targeting? Then what is the benefit? What's the desire? What's the particular positioning of the creative? Why do you think it will work? Is there any data or research? We want to hypothesize clearly what. We cannot be just saying that okay, I think it works. Either it is research based or data based. This concept sheet eliminates bad ideas immediately instead of going into or doing all the requirements and then saying eliminating the idea. That's a bad call. So first conceptualize the sheet, discuss among your stakeholders, and then start working on the creators in a more elaborative manner. Then 2 feedback loops we always establish. One feedback loop as you see in the first plan sheet, which is your concept sheet, and second is a feedback loop when everything is done and they are sent for review and status is updated. Designer automatically checks it. This is once again a shared sheet between creative team, design team and your media buy team, where once the creativity team updates it, he updates a column called status where it says that done. So that when the design team sees okay it's done, which means they can start working on the creative itself. And once the creative is done, even the design team marks it as done in a separate column, and then advertiser starts taking it live. So that is how we mutually establish meeting with complete asynchronous communication, where they can just refer to the sheet and know what's the status of the creative. Even a manager can know exactly where the creative is stuck or what are the creatives for the next week. Everything is in a single sheet for all the brands. And we have status column for each of the team so that we exactly know what's the status of the creative. So then we also have a Slack channel dedicated for this only, where we share inspirations or share any iterations we require, everything, and share for assessment whether the creative is good, bad, whether anything, or for new ideas, so that there's always homogeneous communication and heterogeneous ideas which are always going through the creative and the team, and we are never short of ideas that way. So the sum up is, keep the analysis and assessment asynchronous as much as possible. Don't dwell on analysis. Analysis and assessment of creative should be done by one person or 1 to 2 persons maximum. Apart from that, if everyone starts analyzing the creatives, the problem is everyone has a different point of view and hypothesis. You don't end up creating a good natural hypothesis. It's better a single person, usually a media buyer, who creates a hypothesis and conveys it to the team that this is what the status is and we need to take this course of action. And creative team can bring in their own research inputs, but not necessarily the analysis of the creative. Next, speak to a single audience and discuss on the direction. Don't discuss on details in the meeting. Discuss on what's the direction you want to take the creative, but don't discuss on the details as to what exact word will be, what exact clip will be. Don't discuss on that. So hopefully this was helpful to you. Thank you for watching. Thank you very much.